Hello there everybody, how is it going and how have you been? I am EuclideanSqd, and we're back here in Duel Links to cover the Tag Duel Tournament. Now, really quick, I am aware that there is another event going on right now. You can see it along the top of the screen. You can also see him hanging out there by the card trader EX. It is a brand new roaming duelist, Epic Yami, sorry. He is not going to be covered in this video. His episode and coverage will probably be going up tomorrow or maybe the day after, mostly for two reasons. One, he literally just released a few hours ago, as of the time I'm recording this. And two, because of that, there's no real farming strategies yet, at least not when I sort of poked around on the usual community sites where I typically find my farming decks. And yeah, I'm not really all that confident in my ability to come up with one on my own, because when I tried to duel him normally, he utterly and completely annihilated me. Like this roaming duelist deck is incredibly powerful. So I'm just gonna kind of let him chill for a moment. I'm gonna let people who are far more knowledgeable of deck construction figure out a good farming strategy, and then we will give him his coverage. But for right now, we are going to be concerned with the Tag Duel Tournament. Let's go ahead and check it out. I believe this is I want to say this is the third time that they've held the Tag Duel Tournament, and I kind of wish they'd held it a little bit more often, because I really like Tag Duels. Like, it's a really nice change of pace, I guess is the best term to use, from the typical one-on-one duels. The event is typically fun. AI partner can be a little bit frustrating at times, but basically the way that the tag duel works is that you are teamed up with one of three partners, depending on which of the cups that you decide to participate in, and you and them duel against teams of various AI opponents. And because there are two people on each side, your fields and your graveyards are shared. However, you do have a separate deck to the other person, and your hands are kept separate. And you switch off every turn. So when it's your team's turn, you will go first. Then when your turn ends and it goes to the other side, one of them plays. When it comes back to your turn, or your team's turn, your partner goes. Then the other partner goes for the opponent, and then it's back to you. So it's very interesting. Changes the dynamic of dueling a little bit, mainly because, like I mentioned, you do have an AI partner to try and contend with, and sometimes the AI partner will do very odd things with your cards. So I don't generally like trying to set up complicated strategies in this event, just because it's very possible for your AI partner to just derail them the moment they get control, and usually they do. For example, in one of the other cups, you were partnered with Jaden, and he continuously fused with my monsters. I mean, it was acceptable because the resulting fusion was usually a very powerful monster, but it was still a little bit like, thanks Jaden, but I kind of needed that next turn, sort of a situation there. But anyway, now there is one nice thing, that outside of participating in a duel, you can actually see the contents of your partner's deck. So you can look at what they are going to be working with and kind of design your deck around it if you so wish. I'd say that for the weaker of the two cups, which are the Stardust Cup and the Neos Cup, you could probably get away, or at least I got away with just making a really good deck and just kind of going along with whatever my opponent did. In both of those cases, it usually seemed to work out because in the Stardust Cup, your partner was Yusei, and his deck, I guess, just happened to kind of work very well with Synchro Summoning along with my monsters, so he was generally able to just use my stuff for Synchro Summoning and create something big and scary. Same with Jaden and the fusions, so for as much as I griped, it was actually kind of nice that he was able to use the cards that I had, even though I wasn't planning for it. Yami, on the other hand, is a bit different. Yami has a very powerful deck with some borderline OP cards, but his deck really does not like playing nice with other cards. Mostly because it's just, whereas Yusei could make use of your stuff, and Jaden could sometimes make use of your stuff, his deck, Yami's deck, is really geared to just want to work with spellcasters, and sometimes just Dark Magicians. So, I'm not going to read through every single card's effect here, but basically he has a Dark Magician Girl, 3 Breaker the Magical Warriors, 3 Legion the Fiend Jesters, a new Magician's Robe card, which, spoilers, you can actually get this with the Epic Yami event, but we will be going over that in detail in that event. He has his good old trusty Dark Magicians. He has these Magical Dimensions, which tribute a monster you control, special summon a spellcaster from your hand, and then destroy a monster on the field, which he will generally use to destroy an opponent's monster. But you have to control a spellcaster type monster to actually activate Magical Dimension. Sometimes he will use this to tribute his own spellcaster, sometimes he will have used it to tribute your monster if it's not a spellcaster. It's a little eccentric what he decides to do with it. Then he has the absolutely OP and broken monster Reborn, which just special summons a monster from either player's graveyard for no cost at all. He has Mage Power, which gives the equipped monster 500 attack and defense for each spell trap card you control, including Mage Power. He has this weird continuous trap card, Eternal Soul, which makes his Dark Magicians immune to your opponent's card effects, and gives you benefits for special summoning them, sort of. If you want to read any of these effects, pause the video. Like I said, I'm not going to be reading through them. He has this Magician Navigation, which is actually kind of broken. You special summon a Dark Magician from your hand, and then you can special summon a level 7 or lower Dark Spellcaster type monster from your deck, which, by the way, could be a second Dark Magician. So it's a trap card that basically lets you just special summon 2 Dark Magicians if you happen to have one in your hand. And then the very powerful Mirror Force, which destroys all attack position monsters your opponent controls when they try to declare an attack. So, very strong deck, but like I mentioned, it does not want to play nice with others. The deck I've been using for the Dark Magic Cup is just kind of this Dark Magician Girl deck that I just kind of slapped together out of spellcasters and other strong cards. But whereas Yami's deck seemed mostly focused on summoning Dark Magician, this one is meant to summon Dark Magician Girl. So I have 3 copies of her, including the special promo one that was released several months ago. I have Skilled Dark Magician, who puts spell counters on himself whenever a spell card is activated, and when it has 3, you contribute it to special summon a Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Note that I don't have any Dark Magicians, but he is here so that Yami could take advantage of his effect and special summon a Dark Magician, or alternatively, because Yami and I share a graveyard, if he loses a Dark Magician, I can use this thing to try and revive one. And then I just have other powerful low-level spellcasters. I have Milla the Temporal Magician, which lets you look at a set card your opponent controls when she's normal summoned. She has 1800 attack points, which is very nice. Oh, and because it just specifies set card, you can look at your opponent's face-down monsters, as well as a face-down spell or trap card. So, good for gathering a little bit of intel and trying to figure out what they might be up to. I have Herald of Creation, another 1800 attack point spellcaster, but once per turn you can discard a card to target a level 7 or higher monster in your graveyard and add that to your hand. Again, she's kind of around more to try and help Yami get his Dark Magicians back if he should ever lose them. I only have 1 copy of this, but I put in a Dark Burning attack so that if we control a Dark Magician Girl, we can destroy all face-up monsters my opponent controls. As well as Magic Formula, which is an equipped spell that boosts the power of a Dark Magician or a Dark Magician Girl by 700 attack. And when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, we gain 1000 life points. I would put more in, but this is the only copy I have. Spellbook of Power, which targets a spellcaster and gives them 1000 attack points until the end phase. And if it destroys an opponent's monster in battle, I can add a spellbook spell card from my deck to my hand. So this won't really work for Yami, but I'm probably not going to set these and hope that he uses them. So the general idea is I use this to power up one of my weaker spellcasters, attack, draw one of my own spellbook of powers, and then next turn I can just kind of do it again. And then in terms of traps, I just mostly have just good utility ones. I have Dust Tornado to destroy a spell or trap card, I have 3 Wall of Disruptions because why not? It's really good at weakening your opponent's monsters. And then this trap card is actually really nice. Magician's Circle basically says that when a spellcaster type monster declares an attack, both players can special summon a spellcaster type monster with 2,000 or less attack from their deck in attack position. I like having Magician's Circle because I can play it, and then when Yami's turn comes around, it's ready to go. So if he has a spellcaster, or if he summons a spell, like if my spellcaster survives, or if he summons a new one, he can go ahead and use my Magician's Circle to summon his Dark Magician Girl, or a Breaker of the Magical Knight, or whatever. So this is a nice trap card just because Yami can definitely take advantage of it. Oh, and I kind of forgot he's here, but I have Sorcerer of Dark Magic. This is a level 9 Dark Spellcaster that can't be normal summoned or set. It has to be special summoned by tributing 2 level 6 or higher spellcaster type monsters, and it cannot be special summoned in other means. But it basically allows you to pick and choose which trap cards are allowed to activate and which ones get negated. So, difficult to summon monster, but I figured that with Yami having a lot of easy ways to summon Dark Magician, and me hopefully having easy ways to summon Dark Magician Girl, it should be relatively easy to summon Sorcerer of Dark Magic, and then I can just start blocking my opponent's trap cards whenever I want to. Plus, this thing has 3,200 attack, which is also pretty respectable. But anyway, enough prattling on about the cards in our deck. Let's just go ahead and jump into a tag duel. So your opponents will talk a little bit. You get to pick a difficulty level. Level 20 is obviously going to be easier, but if you choose level 40, you get bonus duel assessment points. And this is important because there are different bonuses for your duel assessment in the Tag Duel Tournament. And instead of giving you stuff like gate keys and gold and such, the higher your duel assessment, the more coins you win to spend in the lottery. So having a higher duel assessment is generally considered better, and you get bonuses for doing things like winning the finals, winning the semifinals, that sort of thing. Plus, the harder cups will also have a multiplier on the amount of coins or the amount of points that you get. So, starting off, we have a pretty decent starting hand, and even though I said I'm not going... well, I want to hold on to Spellbook of Power, actually. I can't use it this first turn, but it should be okay. Herald of Creation or Skilled Dark Magician? I'm going to put Herald of Creation, just because Skilled Dark Magician will be slightly stronger when I activate Spellbook of Power. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. I set a Magician's Circle, so when Yami's turn comes around, he can activate it with a monster's attack. Yeah, so he's using his Magical Dimension to tribute my Spellcaster and summon his Dark Magician Girl, then destroys Spirit Dragon. Dark Magician Girl attacks, and he's using my Magician's Circle to summon his Breaker. And because these two don't have Spellcasters, they don't get any monsters. And then Mokuba just activates a skill that summons a 2850 attack point dragon. Yeah, that's fair. And then a Hieratic that destroys stuff. Yeah, that's absolutely fair, Mokuba. Thanks. Let's see now. Dust Tornado. A Mirror Force. Alright. So, I almost don't want to use... Spell... Actually, no, I should. Because it'll thin my deck. Yeah, let me just double check what this Hieratic Dragon does. Special summon by tributing a Hieratic. Once per turn, you can tribute a Hieratic monster, accept this card from your hand or your side of the field, target a monster, and destroy it. If this thing is tributed, special summon a Dragon-type normal monster from your hand or deck, from your hand, deck, or graveyard, and make its attack. Okay. So, I'm going to kill that thing so that Mokuba can't use its effect anymore. Go ahead and use Spellbook of Power to make Skilled Dark Magician even stronger. Gonna set Dust Tornado just to get it ready, and I'm going to destroy that thing. I'm going to go ahead and use Spellbook of Power to add a second one. And end the turn. Return of the Dragon Lords. Okay, that added something to his hand, and he gets the Dragon Spirit of White. What is he targeting? How do you know where the good cards are? How did you know that that's Mirror Force? Maybe you just flipped a coin and got lucky. Well, I'll activate Dust Tornado anyway and get rid of that face down. I probably should have saved... Oh, well, it was a birthright, so actually... Actually, yes, this is good. I will use Dust Tornado to set a spellbook of power, and I will let Yami take advantage of it. That's Return of the Dragon Lords? What does that do? Target one level 7 or 8 Dragon-type monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If a Dragon-type monster you control will be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. Okay, cool. I think we just lost. Yep. Wow, that's a vicious deck Kaiba and Mokuba have. Jeez. Okay, well, unsurprisingly, my slap-together spellcaster deck isn't strong enough to win, which is odd, because it got me all the way here in the first place, so I thought it would have been good enough in the finals, but it looks like that they did actually add a nice change to the Tag Duel Tournament. I believe in previous iterations of the event, if you lost at any point, you would go back down to round 1. Now it looks like you just stay at whatever level you're at, so that's actually very nice. I remember on the first Tag Duel Tournament, I made it all the way to the final round a few times, and then I kept getting really bad hands, and it screwed me up, and I had to go all the way back down to the first level, so that was annoying, but yeah, that was an example Tag Duel, even though I lost. Still a good duel, still miffed that Kaiba seemed to know where Mirror Force was. I mean, again, it's a 50-50 chance he could have just as easily picked my Dust Tornado, but I'm always just kind of suspicious of the computer in situations like that. Might as well show off this. Like I mentioned, there are 2 other cups. There's the Stardust Cup, in which you work with Yusei, and the Neos Cup, in which you work with Jaden. Beating each cup 3 times will net you a new icon for you to use, but as far as I am aware, there are no new card sleeves or game mats for this event. But another nice thing, actually, and I believe that they had this in previous Tag Duel tournaments, is that once you have beaten a cup once, you can turn on manual control for your AI partner. So if they prove to be especially frustrating with how you try to duel, or if you just don't trust the AI and want to make sure that you play according to how you want to play, you have to deal with them for 1 round through each of the 3 cups, but once you beat them, you can turn on duel manually, at which point you will be able to see their hands and you will be able to control their actions. So that is nice. We're just going to double check the reward. Yep, so generally for the final round you will get a card. It looks like each one is going to be a pretty decent card out of the lotteries. Oh, actually it looks like in the Dark Magic Cup you get 2 cards. Well, okay, up until the final round, but anyway. I'm just trying to rack my brain really quick and see if I'm forgetting anything. Oh yeah, at random points, the Paradox Brothers will, quote-unquote, invade the event and be a challenger. They will hang around for 1 hour, at which point they will just leave if you don't duel them. They do not need any of these little, I think they're called friendship letters, but they're basically the tokens that you have to spend to duel in the event. You don't have to spend any to duel the Paradox Brothers whenever they show up, and they will generally have either a larger coin multiplier or just a special bonus associated for the duel assessment that will get you more coins when you beat them. But as you can imagine, their decks are pretty well tuned for summoning the 3 pieces of Gate Guardian, that is Sangha, Suijin, and Kazijin. So be mindful of those things when you're dueling them. I've actually only seen them once, and I'm not entirely sure when/how they spawn. It might be whenever you advance around, but I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, I think that was the last mechanic, so let's go ahead and go into the lottery and check out the cards. So, Some of these cards are repeats from previous lotteries. I don't know if I read them out before or not on some previous episode. I'm not going to be reading them right now just because it's late and my throat's been bugging me all day and I don't know if I'm getting sick or not, so taking a little bit of a gamble even recording, but I wanted to get this done. I'm just going to do the cards instead of going off on a tangent and possibly making my throat even more upset with me, but anyway. The new ultra rare this time around is called Starlight Road, a trap card where when a card or effect is activated that would destroy 2 or more cards you control, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card, then you can special summon a Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. So, pardon me, hold on. Ugh. Sorry, I felt some coughs coming on and I was trying to hold it back. Very powerful trap card. There is no extra cost required to summon Stardust Dragon. You don't have to tribute monsters, you don't have to pay life points or anything, you just play it. Bit of a stringent activation requirement, but I do notice that it just specifies when a card or effect. Not when an opponent's card or effect, just a card or effect. So, that said, I don't necessarily know how many cards are in the game that will let you destroy 2 or more of your own cards. But if such a card does exist, you can use that to more reliably activate Starlight Road than hoping that your opponent happens to have something that will do that instead. Let's see, the other new card is Comrade Swordsman of Landstar, a level 3 Earth Warrior tuner with 500 attack, 1200 defense, and all warrior type monsters you control gain 400 attack. So, while that is a nice effect, note that that will only put this thing up at 900 attack, which is ridiculously easy for a number of decks to just steamroll through. So if you're using this, it is, I probably guess that it's more than likely going to be used as a tuner. And to be honest, a level 3 tuner is a pretty flexible tuner all around. So, and you combine it with another level 3, you get a 6, you combine it with a 4, you get a 7. It's a very nice tuner, at least from a level standpoint. Stat-wise, this thing's pretty easy to just crush. There's a new synchro card as well. Sorry, my nose is starting to run. Now I'm getting worried. This is Chaos Goddess, a level 8 Light Fairy synchro that needs 1 Light Tuner and 2 or more non-tuner Dark monsters. 2500 attack, 1800 defense, and once per turn, you can send a Light monster card from your hand to the graveyard to select 1 level 5 or higher Dark monster in your graveyard and special summon that monster, but it cannot be used as synchro material. So, I guess the idea with her is that you would use a level 5 or higher Dark in the synchro summoning, and then with Chaos Goddess's effect just immediately revive it. But she specifically needs 2 non-tuner Dark monsters and is a level 8. So in other words, if you do want to use a level 5 Dark monster in her synchro summoning, that only leaves you 3 levels to split among the other 2 monsters. So, I mean, it's doable, but that's going to be kind of difficult to do. Especially because I'm just not all that familiar with the levels of all the light tuners in the game. I mean, I'm sure that there are some that can fit the bill easier than others, but that's going to be a tricky thing to pull off. I'm sure it's doable, but just be careful. Then we also have Trust Guardian. This is the new rare card. This is a level 3 Light Fairy tuner with 0 attack and 800 defense. It cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a level 7 or higher synchro monster. Once per turn, the synchro monster cannot be destroyed by battle, so whatever you create with Trust Guardian gets to escape from being destroyed by battle once per turn. However, every time that this effect is applied, that synchro monster loses 400 attack and defense at the end of the damage step. So, while it gets to avoid destruction, it does become weaker and weaker each successive time, which means your opponent will be doing more and more damage. It'll make it easier for them to get a second monster out to destroy it. So just be mindful. I'm sure there is a good synchro. Actually, thinking of it, isn't there a what is it? I think it's one of the Vylon synchros, I want to say. I think there's a Vylon synchro monster that adds an equip spell to it from the deck when it's synchro summoned. I can't remember if it's a level 7 or not. I think it is. But that could be a good monster to use with Trust Guardian. Because you could just synchro summon it, give it an equip spell so that it's a little bit stronger and kind of mitigate the stat loss that Trust Guardian does whenever it will be destroyed in battle. So it's a thought. It might be completely incorrect. I might be misremembering what the cards are, but maybe. And then there is a new normal monster, but it's honestly just complete garbage. It's a level 2 with 800 attack and 600 defense. I mean, it's a level 2 you could use for Chaos Goddess. That's about the only good thing to say about it, and even then, I'm pretty sure that there are far sturdier or level 2 darks out there with effects that could be useful. It's... Don't use this thing. There's no reason to. And then everything else is duplicates. You can also get the usual gems and gold and gate keys out of the lottery as well. So, you know what, let's go ahead and pull 10 things out of the lottery, see if we get anything. We don't get any ultra or super rares. There's no lightning effects, so I know that right away. I got 6 gems. Not bad. I'm going to do another 300 just because it's real quick, but I'll end the episode after this. Still no... Wow, my card rate for the lottery has been awful. I think I've only gotten like 1 super rare out of it, I want to say. And I think I've got... Let me see, actually. No, I haven't even gotten one. Or at least one of the new ones. I think I got like an Evil Swarm or something. Or maybe it was a Flare Whip. I think I did get a super rare, but it was not one of the new ones. The only Comrade Swordsman of Landstar I got was from one of the round rewards. I think it was final round of Neos Cup, right? No? Did I not? I guess I did get it. Okay. No. Ignore me. Clearly, it is too late, and I am starting to ramble and forget exactly what has happened previously. So, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the episode off there. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next one.